This week on Working Class Foodies, we're going to make a classic American breakfast: eggs, potatoes, and breakfast meat. And as always, we're going to keep it affordable while using local, seasonal ingredients.
This week on Working Class Foodies,
I wanted to make a spin on a classic potato hash, but instead of using overly salted canned corned beef, I used a fresh chorizo sausage homemade at a local market. You can use any kind of fresh sausage for this recipe, or you can use leftover roasted vegetables instead if you prefer. I picked up a carton of eggs and a pound of red skin potatoes at the farmer's market. First thing you should do is put your eggs out on the counter to let them come to room temperature. Just as with meat, eggs will cook better if you start them off at room temperature. Next, you want to parboil your potatoes. I actually recommend that you keep a container of parboiled potatoes already in your fridge, but if you don't have that on hand, that's totally fine. Here's a really simple way to do it. Cut your potatoes into bite-sized pieces. And put them in the pan that you're going to eventually cook everything else in. Cover the potatoes with water and add salt. I used a non-stick pan for this because I wanted the potatoes to brown on the bottom without sticking to the pan and tearing. Bring this to a boil and boil the potatoes for about 10 minutes or until they're just fork tender. You don't want them to be soft and you don't want them to fall apart when you put the fork in. You want them to just let the fork go into the flesh. Drain your potatoes and set them aside. Heat a little bit of olive oil in your pan and take your sausage out of its casing. Crumble the sausage into the pan and stir it around just until it starts to cook. Then mince a clove or two of garlic
We'll be stealing paintings from the Louvre.
And add those in with the meat. If you're using leftover vegetables, go ahead and heat those up. When your meat is cooked or your leftover vegetables are warmed through, add your potatoes back in. Taste your hash and adjust the seasoning with a little salt and pepper if necessary. You want the potatoes to brown on the bottom, so you don't want to stir them too much or they won't brown. Let it sit and cook.
That Mona Lisa would want to get a piece of all the action, so I let her come along.
When your potato hash is cooked through, add any fresh herbs like chives, fresh thyme, scallion tops, whatever you like.
Friendly folk think I've done nothing wrong.
Set it aside in a bowl.
Before my life was bumpy and my clothes were looking frumpy.
Turn your heat down to low and add a little olive oil to the pan. I made this dish with sunny side up eggs. To make this, I broke the eggs gently into a cup.
Because we stole some paintings from the Louvre.
Gently slide your eggs into the pan. Whites first. You want it to be just warm enough so that they hold their shape and cook through, and you want the whites to cook but the yolks to stay soft. Season with salt and pepper and a little fresh herbs if you want. I used fresh thyme. And just cook until the whites are set. You can also add scallion tops if you want. Slide the eggs back out of the pan and serve on top of your potato hash with a nice piece of toast on the side. And that's it. That's your classic American breakfast. This dish made 2 giant portions, and the total cost, with the toasted focaccia, came down to $3 a person. So that's our Working Class Foodies breakfast. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite breakfast is, and we'll see you next week on Working Class Foodies. Don't forget to sign up for our new Working Class Foodies newsletter. The link is below. We'll see you next week. Check out some of our other episodes to find recipes that would go great with this dish by clicking any of these boxes around my face.